Oral questions by members.
Abbotsford South.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Today, Mr. Speaker, we have learned, and British Columbians have learned, that over 28,000 social insurance numbers have been stolen from BC's Interior Health Authority's 28,000 employees. Their personal information has been hacked and stolen. The Fifth Estate found that the stolen identities taken from Interior Health employees have been used for fraudulent CRA refunds and loans. To the Minister, through you, Mr. Speaker, when was this government aware of this breach? And how come employees like BC nurse Leslie Warner was never made aware that her account was hacked and her private information had been stolen? What kind of gong show is this government running in Interior Health? You can't get a doctor or count on an ER room, but if you're a nurse, you can now count on your information being stolen.
Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Privacy of personal information is, of course, an incredibly serious matter, one we take very seriously and that health authorities take their responsibilities to protect very seriously. What I can tell, Mr. Speaker, what I can tell the member is that in January, the RCMP informed Interior Health about a document discovered during an investigation that included personal information of individuals, including a number of current and former Interior Health employees. Interior Health took diligent steps to investigate the matter, to support the RCMP investigation that's underway. They've also hired external security experts to conduct dark web searches and ensure that personal information, and they have confirmed that personal information is not on the dark web. They're now taking the steps to notify all current and former employees, and out of abundance of caution, Mr. Speaker, helping to provide credit monitoring to help people protect their personal information. They notified the Office of Information and Privacy Commissioner of this information incident, and they will continue to keep them updated. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member supplemental.
Mr. Speaker, BC Health Authority Board of Directors were making $1,400 a day after a 53% pay increase. This incompetent NDP government keeps on hiring more and more and more bureaucrats and managers while disrespecting the workers. Will the Minister of Health tell, not me, but to the 28,000 frontline healthcare workers why this government failed to protect the personal and sensitive and confidential information of workers? Instead, this government has now exposed them to the kind of fraud that destroys and ruins people's lives. Destroys them, Mr. Speaker. This guts people's families, and it will leave them looking over their shoulders for the rest of their lives. This government had a duty to protect their private information, Mr. Speaker, and this government has failed to protect their workers. What will the minister now do to make this right and restore the lives of those that are now going to be destroyed as a result of them leaving this door open for hackers?
Minister.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I have explained the steps that Interior Health has taken in contacting former employees to do everything they can to ensure that these employees are supported. I can also confirm that Interior Health security systems have undergone extensive improvements since 2009. Mr. Speaker, information systems have increased the granularity of security credentials and system logging. Obviously, Interior Health, Mr. Speaker, is not able to disclose those finite details because, of course, they are protecting security measures for security reasons. Mr. Speaker, this government takes the privacy of information incredibly seriously, as do the health authorities. Health authority boards have taken the proper steps forward in providing direction, keeping the proper parties informed, and supporting the RCMP in this investigation. It is my expectation, of course, that they will continue to do this. I know that they will, and thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader of the Official Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I can tell you one of the things that I also find very serious is the fact that this government has been ignoring the infrastructure issues for rural BC across so many regions. MLAs have done everything they can to try to raise these issues, including even singing a song, which I won't repeat, about Quinnell Bridge falling down. However, this government, quite frankly, is treating rural BC with a dismissive and uncaring approach. In my riding, the intersection of Highway 16 and Lloyd Drive is a serious safety issue. The installation of a left-hand turning lane and the extension of passing lane was scheduled to be started in 2017. This government simply just cancelled the project. I can understand why the people in these regions don't vote for the NDP, but to the Premier, is the NDP government ignoring rural BC simply because they didn't vote for the NDP?
Here, here.
Mr. Premier.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. You know, when we formed government, every corner of this province was facing outdated hospitals, schools that weren't seismically upgraded. Highway 1, everyone knew Highway 1 had to be expanded. Government refused to do it. In the Leader of the Opposition's own community, a hospital is 2 double-wide trailers, intended as a temporary facility for Fort St. James. Never addressed. And remember, never advocated for it, never delivered it. But who built a new hospital for Fort St. James in the Leader of the Opposition's own community? Was this government. I know the member was busy in Ottawa with all of the Trump apologists advocating for higher pay for politicians. But over here on this side of the House, we're fighting for this whole province every single day.
Leader of the Official Opposition, supplemental.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll give the Premier an opportunity to apologize and withdraw, because I can show him reams and reams of opportunities that I did and the things that I did to advocate for the hospital in Fort St. James, which so is just simply misleading this House. However, Mr. Speaker, I do want to go on to another very serious point about this. The last time the NDP were in government in the 1990s, they ran a budget. Capital projects were massively over budget, government spending ballooned, and the economy was in shambles. And you know, Mr. Speaker, it's amazing to consider how much history repeats itself to today. The 1990 solution by the NDP was to dramatically cut maintenance budgets for BC rural infrastructure. And I'll give you an example. In 1998, the entire amount of money that was spent on maintenance from the Alberta border to Burns Lake on Highway 16 was less than $1 million. Think about that. We have a budget today. We have a massive overruns on all capital projects. Ballooning government spending. Sounds familiar. To the Premier, these roads across rural BC are critical for our infrastructure, they're critical for our economy, but also they are critical for people's lives who depend on them every day to get back and forth for services, for healthcare, and for other things. So, quite frankly, can the residents of British Columbia and the residents of rural BC expect this Premier to do the same thing that he did in the 1990s and slash maintenance budgets?
Mr. Premier.
Well, thank you, Honourable Speaker. Actually, we canvassed these very issues during the election campaign. And the commitment I made to British Columbians was this. We are building the schools, the hospitals, the roads to grow this province. And there has been massive inflationary pressure on capital budgets all across North America. And so that brings a choice. Do you stop building the projects?
Members.
And the member advocated this. He wanted to put the Surrey Hospital on hold. He wanted to review all the capital programs. He wanted to put projects on hold and stop them.
Members,
and so
let the Premier.
when you have the opportunity
Members, that's enough.
Member's
Order.
record speaks for itself, Honourable Speaker.
Member for Abbotsford South, that's not very nice thing to talk like that. Be careful. It's the first warning and maybe the last.
It brings a choice, Honourable Speaker. Do you build the projects that the people need to grow our economy and ensure our success as a province, or do you cancel them? We made a choice. We're building those projects, and the results speak for themselves. First among all provinces for GDP growth last year. 35,000 full-time jobs in 2020, the highest increase in full-time jobs among provinces. Now, I hear the members moaning over there about our capital investments in all of their constituencies, but you know what, Honourable Speaker? We're going to keep doing it.
Leader of the third party.
Honourable Speaker, a local teacher came to my constituency office last month to deliver surprising news. At least half of her high school's graduating class couldn't identify what causes climate change or how to address it. In 2025, the science of climate change is not in dispute. 99% of scientists are in consensus about human-caused climate change. It threatens our prosperity and maybe even our existence on this planet. Education is our best hope. The students of today are our future, and we will be relying on them to develop societal and technological solutions to the problem they will inherit. Yet, in a search of our BC K-12 school curriculum, climate change content is almost completely missing. Will the Minister of Education urgently direct officials to make climate change education prominent in the BC course curriculum?
Minister of Education.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I want to thank the member for the question. It's so important that we educate our youth about the absolute the challenges that are facing us all around climate change. I know this is something the member is very passionate about, as is our government. The work that we've done with the Green Party around Clean BC has been world leading. Leaders in North America, leaders across the globe, and there's absolutely more to do. Our youth have a number of amazing initiatives within the K-12 system around education on climate change and climate science and what we need to do for the future. And I can also tell the member that it's an absolute passion of the youth as well. The students that I talk to, this is something they are deeply concerned about. They know it's their future, as do we. Happy to sit down with the member following this anytime to talk about what's happening in our schools and how we can continue to support that education. Thank you, member, for the question. Thank you.
Member supplemental.
Thanks to the Minister for that answer. In mandatory courses, there is a single mention, this is in a search of the BC course curriculum, a single mention of climate change in Science 7. The reference speaks about, quote, evidence of climate change over geological time and recent impacts on humans. But there's nothing about the causes or how we can combat it. It appears in 3 optional high school courses. In fact, a search of the website trying these search terms, fossil fuels, nothing, global warming, nothing, renewable energy or clean energy, nothing, and conservation only speaks about conservation of water. I have to say I'm stunned about this. Does the Minister at least agree that climate change is not controversial and has accepted science, nor is it too political to include in basic school curriculum?
Minister of Education.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and absolutely I agree with the member. Climate change and climate science is real, and we on this side of the House absolutely support that. We know how vital it is to take care of our environment, to take care of the future for our youth. We have amazing resources in our K-12 schools, including resources and educators who continue to bring in resources and teach students their passion around climate change and climate science as well. We also work with First Nations, people who have stewarded these lands for time immemorial, who come to classes all through K-12 to educate youth about what is happening on the land in their local areas and what the history is of the land. As I said, I'm absolutely happy to sit down with the member and talk about what's in the curriculum and happy to have that meeting with him. Thank you.
Member for Langley Walnut Grove.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. British Columbians are $200 away from not being able to pay their bills. Affordable and reliable transportation isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. In October 2024, the Premier promised to deliver a bus rapid transit line to the North Shore, Surrey, Langley, and Maple Ridge, but the budget shows no funding to do so. Can the minister tell the public why this government broke its promise to the families counting on the BRT line?
Minister of Transportation.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I appreciate the question from the member. Absolutely, transit is important to families right across the province of British Columbia. That's why this side of the House has invested significantly in transit ever since we've taken office, Honourable Speaker. During COVID, we provided, along with the federal government, more than $849 million to TransLink for their operations. The subsequent year in 2023, we provided another $479 million. Last year alone, $300 million in terms of capital projects, Honourable Speaker. We are committed to transit, and we will ensure that people are getting the services that are required. In terms of the specific issues that the member just mentioned, the recent agreement that we have just achieved with TransLink that has seen the province contribute another $312 million over 3 years to assist them in dealing with their operating challenges is going to allow for expansion of services. And one of the priorities for TransLink in terms of the expansion of services is the BRTs, Honourable Speaker.
Member supplemental.
For a government that's broke, the BRT is cost-effective to build. Families are struggling to stay afloat, and without reliable transit, getting to work, school, or childcare becomes nearly impossible. The NDP claims to support working families, but what kind of support is that when they failed to fund the very transit system people rely on? How can this Premier expect British Columbians to believe he has their backs when he can't even deliver the buses he promised back in the fall?
Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I'm not sure of what part of commitment to transit the member missed, but let me be clear. $848 million during COVID is a commitment to transit on $479 million 2 years ago for their operating funding is a commitment to transit, Honourable Speaker. $300 million in capital last year is a commitment to transit, Honourable Speaker. Building a $4.9 billion SkyTrain line, Surrey, Langley SkyTrain system from Langley Centre in the member's own riding, Honourable Speaker, is a commitment to transit, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, let's be clear. We are committed to transit. They're committed to complaining. We're going to continue to build this province.
Member for Prince George North. Member for Prince George North Caribou.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No singing today from me. The Quesnel River Bridge and Rail Overpass were built 64 years ago, and the NDP first promised action 21 years ago when this very same minister was in government. There is a dire need to build an interconnector to include a new bridge and rail overpass on the Quesnel River before the existing ones are condemned. I have written the minister, and thank you for the response. I've held meetings and documented the dangerous state of this crumbling infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, will this government commit to building British Columbia's Highway 97 interconnector upgrade before it's too late?
Minister of Transportation.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I appreciate the question from the minister, and I want to confirm that he asked for briefings from my ministry staff. Those have taken place. I know that a meeting is going to be scheduled for later this week with him, with myself and staff, again, further on some of the issues that he has raised around Quesnel, and the Quesnel River Bridge and Highway 97 in his area. And I can tell him that ministry staff regularly inspect the Quesnel River Bridge. on an annual basis to ensure that it is safe, Honourable Speaker. And I know he sang about it, but I can assure him that the Quesnel Bridge is not falling down, that the professionals in my ministry are ensuring that that bridge is safe, and they do that on an annual basis. So I want to reassure him on that. But I also want to reassure him that when it comes to Highway 97, again, that's an area that the province continues to make investments in. On Highway 97 at the Cottonwood Hill, construction is currently underway on that project. Highway 97 at Queensong Creek, pre-works are completed with construction to start again in this year, Honourable Speaker. There are others that I can also able to list, and I will wait forward to the supplemental.
Member for Boundaries, Milkameen.
Thank you. We learned this morning that a rock slide in my riding between Karamias and Caledon has closed a section of Highway 3A again. The last time this happened, the highway was shut down for a week and repairs took months. It cut off our communities and choked our local tourism economy. Yet this government still refuses to invest in the preventative maintenance real infrastructure needs. Why is this Premier always caught flat-footed when disaster strikes? And when will he stop neglecting the transportation lifelines that keep rural BC moving?
Minister of Transportation.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Again, I have to disagree with the member. $15 billion in capital projects, Honourable Speaker, that this government is investing in every part of the province. Road builders in this province, Honourable Speaker, will tell you that they have more work now than they ever had when the Leader of the Opposition sat under this side of the House. I can tell.
Member.
Thank you, Honourable Member. I think that member should heed the advice from the member from Peace River North. Honourable Speaker, in regards to the rock slide, I can tell you that geotechnical engineers are on site assessing the situation to ensure that the road is cleared as quickly as possible. As well, there is an alternative route that is underway, and the professionals in my ministry working with the road builders crews are doing everything to ensure that that road is cleared as quickly as possible and assessing what additional works need to be undertaken. Currently, there is a one of the rock fall catches in this particular slide that did overwhelm that. And so following this will be an assessment on how to make it stronger and better so that it's able to deal with situations like this if they occur in the future.
Member for Peace River North.
I would like to know what my advice is, please.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I suggest you check your Twitter account.
Member for Kelowna Mission.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. During the recent election, we heard a lot of big talk from this government about commitments to Kelowna and Made in Kelowna solutions. As one of the fastest growing communities in Canada, one of our most pressing needs is serious investments in transit and transportation. Can the minister tell us in what fiscal year specifically this government will actually step up with funding for a new transit operations centre and the next steps on the Highway 33 Clement multimodal corridor?
Minister of Transportation.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I know that we seem to be getting estimates questions, and I look forward to them. But what I am happy to tell the member is the work that we are doing, ensuring that BC Transit has the funding that it requires to be able to expand operations, is something that we are actively engaged in the same way that we are wanting to ensure that TransLink has got the operating funds that it needs to be able to operate and also to expand service. But in terms when it comes to infrastructure in his neck of the woods, again, I'd like to inform him that significant investments are being made. In fact, I just had a meeting with the mayor of Peachland, very strong advocate for his community, where he was advocating for the two intersections and the Trepanier intersection, and I was able to inform him that we are going to be funding the work on that for this year, Honourable Speaker, and so he can expect to see key improvements on transportation systems that matter to his mayor and council happening this year.
Member for Skeena.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In November, Cassidy and Jaden, two young people with their whole lives ahead of them, were tragically killed. when their vehicle hydroplaned and flipped into a body of water on the section of Highway 37 between Terrace and Kitimat during heavy rainfall. This tragedy was entirely preventable. The road lacks basic infrastructure like proper drainage and barriers. The minister has access to ICBC data, which shows almost 600 single vehicle and non-intersection crashes occurred on Highway 37 alone from 2019 to 2023, a disturbing number of which resulted in fatalities. If the government knows where these crashes are happening, why hasn't it prioritized installing safety features like guardrails and barriers at those critical locations, and how many more lives need to be lost before this government takes rural highway safety seriously?
Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And of course, government takes highway safety seriously, and to suggest that it doesn't is simply wrong, Honourable Speaker. That's why we have made a number of improvements. So, for example, increasing the number of commercial vehicle safety and enforcement officers right across the province, Honourable Speaker, to ensure that, that road safety is a key priority. Also, at the same time, assessing those areas that need to have additional supports in place in terms of additional infrastructure. That's why we continue to invest not only in highways such as Highway 37, Highway 9, Highway 5, Highway 1, but highways right around the province, Honourable Speaker. There's a lot of work to do, but we will continue to make those investments to ensure that we are making our highways as safe as possible.
Member for Bulkley Valley Stikine.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the minister. Well, he's right. There is a lot of complaining going on. And the complaints that I'm hearing from Highway 37 in my riding are substantial. The communities such as Kitwanga, Stewart, Dease Lake, Telegraph Creek, Iskut, Atlan, they all live on Highway 37. It's more than a road, it's a lifeline for northern communities and major industries, yet it remains chronically neglected. And I know this because I drive it. Potholes 4 to 6 inches deep. The crash statistics don't lie. 345 crashes, 82 casualties, and an overwhelming number being single vehicle accidents. Why is this NDP government refusing to invest in proactive maintenance and safety upgrades for Highway 37?
Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. In fact, the government is not refusing to be proactive in terms of investing in highway maintenance on Highway 37 or any other highway, Honourable Speaker, in the province of British Columbia. In fact, Honourable Speaker, along with the provincial investments that take place, and the changes in terms of operations that take place, such as commercial vehicle safety enforcement, investing in intersections and dangerous intersections, also working with industry, for example, on Highway 37, in how we partner and ensuring that when resource development takes place, road improvements are taking place, safety infrastructure is put in place to deal with the development that's taking place on that highway, Honourable Speaker. Also working with the federal government to ensure that we are getting our fair share of transportation improvement investments, Honourable Speaker. That's the approach this government is going to continue to take. We will continue to invest in safety right across the province.
Member for Kamloops Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As with everything with this NDP budget, the numbers just simply aren't adding up today. We have no teachers' assistance in this budget from K to 3 like promised by the Premier. We have the grocery rebate no longer in this budget. We have the senior bus passes no longer in this budget. The list goes on and on and on of broken promises by this Premier in the most recent election that is not in this budget. And now we hear about the $15 billion of infrastructure. What the government fails to point out in that $15 billion number is that their infrastructure projects are currently $15 billion over budget. And delayed, I might add, Mr. Speaker. So no wonder that they're hearing from all across this province about lack of maintenance, lack of safety updates, lack of infrastructure investment across the board. And what is this Premier's response when members from this House who have been elected and sent here by people in their ridings to bring these issues to the floor of this? The Premier characterized it earlier, and I quote, "We are moaning about the lack of investment in this province." moaning. That's how the Premier refuses to convey back what he's hearing through us from rural BC about the lack of infrastructure investment in rural BC. So again, how, when the government is broke, when the government is running record deficits, do they reasonably expect anyone to believe that there will be substantive changes to rural infrastructure spending in British Columbia over the next 3 years of this fiscal plan?
Minister of Transportation.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. If any government has invested in rural British Columbia in infrastructure, it is this side of the House, Honourable Speaker. A hospital in Fort St. James, Honourable Speaker, that the member failed to get done when he sat on this side of the House. A brand new Mills Memorial Hospital, Honourable Speaker, in Terrace, British Columbia, Honourable Speaker, built by this side of the House, Honourable Speaker. I meet with the Mayor of Peachland the other day who came to lobby to ask for a new intersection to be done. He left my office, Honourable Speaker. Where's that intersection funded and being done this year, Honourable Speaker? The member from Campbell's North Centre over there, Honourable Speaker, has asked for about, when I met him in a previous ministry, asked for cameras on trucks, Honourable Speaker. Work being done in my ministry to get it done, Honourable Speaker, being done by this side of the House. On the lower mainland, Honourable Speaker, a $4.9 billion Surrey Langley SkyTrain Centre being built, Honourable Speaker. We're getting a $1.6 billion Patola Bridge is going to open later this year. Every single time.
The balance the question period.